restrictions.
Farm trucks, farm trucks been around for a while,
I don't know.
so I got my Quonset, they make tents too.
Oh, right.
There's one part where.
Hey, Lizzie, can, Jeannie sit next to you? Oh, yeah. And Mary Jane, you're good. Yeah, you can sit in between. You guys don't have anybody else, we're just you two. Oh, Charlie's coming. Oh, he's stuck in the blast. Do you wanna sit on this side so Charlie can sit in the middle, Mary Jane? Yeah. Thanks. Of course, stuck in the blast. Cool. All right. Few more people trickling in. And we won't
Right by
I don't,
I think
I know there's some questions on here.
That's really
It's
Okay, I can
a little bit
Yeah.
weird.
what we can mean. We do have someone sitting there, but other than, you can sit up at the front if you want. You can sit right there, totally, absolutely, you can.
Bite.
I guess.
Bite.
That's a future Santa
I don't know if you want.
Unless you're into it.
Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna call this meeting of the Business and Community Promotion Board to order at 2:03 and do a roll call. Jeannie's here, Lindsay's here, Andy's here, Steve here, Tara here, Lana here. Only absent Katie, she let me know she's camping. I did a meeting brief with her, so she's up to date, that they're off-grid camping somewhere, so it's amazing fun for them. I go ahead and need approval of the agenda. Steve, or no, we'll just do Andy first, then second Steve. Okay, did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the 19th of May? Can I have an approval of those minutes?
I'll move.
Lana moves, who seconds?
I'll second.
Tara seconds, so it's always a race. Okay, I do have one scheduled public comment. That's you. Yeah, that's you. Just introduce yourself and go ahead and stand up, yeah.
I'm Lindsay. I'm with Advocates for Recovery. I'm a peer coach for Gilpin County. We also have a peer coach for Clear Creek. So we have a new grant with Advocates for Recovery for the Foothills program. So we cover Jeffco, Clear Creek, and Gilpin. So what we do is we offer peer recovery coaching services to the area that includes like one-on-one peer coaching, like recovery meetings like AA, but not AA. We also do we call them Recover We social events, and that's why I'm here, because I want to get input, possible sponsorship donations to help us get recovery events in Clear Creek.
So Lindsay submitted a letter to me that I'll attach to our meeting notes, that will go out to everybody, that just talks about the sponsorship opportunities, and then I can officially put it on the agenda in July to talk about if the BCPB itself would like to officially sponsor any of these recovery meetings and groups, and how maybe businesses might want to partner for that. So thanks, Lindsay. Nice to meet you. Okay,
Can I make a public comment even though I'm not?
yeah, you can make a public comment.
I just wanted everyone to know we are developing finally a draft fact sheet for the Argo and everything that we will be distributing. If you want copies of this.
I was gonna put it, if it's on the greenlit, it's greenlit now officially. The fact sheet, I can put it on the meeting.
No, it's not greenlit yet.
Okay,
but
that's what I
I just
thought.
wanted them to see that this is really the facts.
Yeah.
And you can, something like this is almost greenlit.
Okay, I was like, I was gonna put it on when we're ready for
You're
it.
talking about this one,
Yes,
right?
I'm talking about
Okay.
that.
Good. And then,
So just to be clear, this is for public?
Not
yeah,
yet.
it is, it's for public, but it's not the final.
Okay, it's mainly for this group. at the
Right,
moment.
just so you know
It's
what
in
we're putting out
process.
of the fact sheet,
Okay,
and if you
just
see
wondering.
something horribly wrong, let me know.
Okay.
Or something that we haven't added, properly. Good to have objective eyes
Can you
on
share
it.
these?
Yeah, pass those around too.
Yeah.
I don't have enough.
Is our tour at 3:30 or 4 today?
4
That's
today.
what I thought, okay, just confirming that.
Yep, and again, to remind you guys, we'll be doing the 4. I know there was confusion around the meeting invite. we only have 10 spots for the Argo tour when we're doing the tours, so I open it up to the public and then I have to cancel it and reissue it, and I know that's confusing, but we can only do 10 slots at a time for the tour. We'll continue to offer those as long as construction allows it to, that at 4 o'clock after the GCPP meetings, Argo has generously offered to give us, top tours. So we can go see all the progress and all of that. So I know it's a little confusing, but we're working on it. Find another way. Easier. Anything else, Mary Jane?
No, I just, you'll talk about the trails reopening,
I
I'm
will,
sure.
yeah. Ken?
Can I do a public comment?
Yeah.
One other thing, sorry.
No, okay.
We've got the Denver Business Journal coming with us on our tour today, so that should be exciting.
Yeah, good partnership too for people to talk about.
Yeah.
Just completely unrelated to anything I'm sure y'all have on your agenda, but just as a citizen and a business owner in town, I've just been noticing, unfortunate, but a lot of Nazi propaganda around town, literal Nazi propaganda. Yay, it's the times we live in. I peel them off when I find them. I know a few other folks peel them off and then find them. Some of them are starting to be spray painted with stencils. I don't expect the city to magically be able to do anything about it, but it's just an issue that y'all should be aware of. It seems to happen in waves, maybe when somebody affiliated is in town. Just an FYI thing, sucks, but it's absolutely a thing that's happening.
Thank you for bringing that to our awareness. That's good for all of us to keep our eye out.
Is it stickers or
Stickers and spray paint with stencils.
an onliner?
Primarily, I've noticed it in the historic district, but it's everywhere. It's all around the country right now.
We'll keep a note and then we'll maybe send a
Oh,
note to
okay.
Public Works to kind of just keep an intentional eye out for
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Is there, like, if somebody gets caught defacing something, is that a crime, isn't it?
I am not the person to answer that, no.
It can be.
It can be.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, awesome. Alright, on to my director's report. There's a lot of content in here as always, but I wanna kind of give us the high level thing of wanting to show you guys some stuff. I am gonna pop up the version 1 of the website. What I would like you guys to do is please remember that this is just version 1. I'm gonna send it out for official feedback. This time is just to show you where we are, give you an idea. And then I'm gonna send it for poll for feedback and to the board to poll to post it. I don't wanna spend a ton of time being like, oh, this font should be 2 inches smaller, or this content needs to be, yeah, I don't wanna get deep into that today because we have a lot to cover, but I did want you guys to really see the progress that has been made because it has been awesome. And I am so grateful for Kent and for Ross. They have really moved mountains to make this starting to happen. Alrighty. Here you guys are, version 1 of visit idahospringsco.com. Obviously, it's not connected to the domain yet, because then everybody can see it. This is a private viewing site. Everybody will get this view link. Please do send feedback. Please remember that this has been designed with brand guidelines. So here's our iconic image. Copy's not 100% finalized. I'm tweaking a few things on the copies. Don't get too caught up in the copy. Then we have our local events slider. So when you click on any of these, it will either take you to, for example, if we clicked on session series, it would take you to the event page for session series. Same thing with the Trailgate. 4th of July takes us to the Facebook page for the Facebook event page. The Minor Street block parties, we're gonna start behind the scenes developing a page within the website that will host all of the information about the block parties. There's the Slaymakers anniversary and there's Rapid Grass. This is something that does need to be managed manually. It's not like linking and auto-populating. I will need to go up there and update it. The board is gonna need to eventually make a decision of what's included and what's not. What do we put up there? What do we don't put up there? Is it everything within the county? Is it anything that's Idaho Springs related? Is it what exactly? So that's something for the board to consider as we move into the next phase.
That's good. Quick question.
You may,
I have Rapid Grass as the first weekend in August.
that is not correct.
That's not correct.
The 15th and the 16th.
Thank you for confirming.
Yeah, you're
It did
welcome.
change dates, so,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And then this is the featured news section, so essentially this is a slider, that. Oops. Yeah. Oh. It's because this Zoom thing on my computer is in the way, sorry. There we go, okay. So there's a little slider and it slides through. And again, these links are cross-linked to, so for the Mighty Argo, this goes to mightyargo.com. The Virginia Canyon goes to Comba's thing. Right now, this goes to Clear Creek County Tourism's Raft page for now. Again, most as we grow this page, we'll be able to do a lot more internal linking through this. Simple at the bottom, sign up for our newsletter. And then our contact information. And right now, that's it. So that is where we are right now. On that.
Very good.
Yeah, we're getting.
Taking shape.
So you're sending this out, Sadie?
I'm sending this
Perfect.
out to the preview link. Again, it's not live. You'll get the link, to preview it. Definitely send feedback, and then I'll be polling the board about, once we kind of get some initial feedback rounds, I'll be polling the board on when I can pull live to put version 1 up. Update on timeline. I'd like to get version 1 up by the end part of this week. It'd be good just to start sharing things out, especially with 4th of July. We should get a lot of traction. And then the plan is to be behind the scenes. Kent, Ross and I are working on V2, which we would like to have the business listing page up with that. Some developed pages behind, like such as a couple of event dedicated landing pages, a few other additional pages. That's gonna be it for V2. And then the final version will go live with the brand launch campaign in the fall, where we're gonna have all the video assets, the full social media campaign behind it, and that whole campaign launch will be fall. So the full version of the website goal to be done by then. Any comments, questions, thoughts? Progress, great. Yes, progress, for sure. Okay, cool. Next thing is, the Slaymaker Cellars is doing their 5th anniversary. Congrats,
Congratulations.
they approached me about doing a block party similar to what Bojo's has done in the past. And it's within the quota, so it's perfect time. So we approved the block party. And they've already like turned it into a pretty awesome day. And so they've already booked music and they've secured some activities for the block already. And I would recommend that we consider sponsoring this and doing one of the $250 Great Day Colorado segments on this. We still have some of those segments available to us from Box 31. They designated that Idaho Springs got 12 of those. And while some businesses have taken advantage of that, we still have a good amount of those $250 slots for Great Day Colorado available. It would be a great way to co-brand and to bring people in, as well as Kent is looking at doing some advertising on Colorado Public Radio. We could maybe loop into that as well. Again, the more we can co-brand with businesses like this, it extends our reach. The Slaymakers have an excellent established following already. So this really puts us in a position where it starts to move us in the right direction. There is an action item on the agenda to approve a sponsorship at a 500. We do have money in the budget set aside for miscellaneous sponsorships. So this would come out of the miscellaneous sponsorship budget. Thoughts, questions? I know Steve had a good point about these moving forward. You want to share with the group?
We'll just probably have a standard format, like a new business, 1 year, this is the package that would go in a business, 5 year, this is the package. Otherwise, people could be bugging you every so often for money, if they think you're just getting money. It has to be kind of like, what is they can't come to you and just ask you for money, you to organize their event.
Oh, yeah, no,
Slaymakers are not doing that, they're doing all the work, but, just like I can see people misunderstanding, like, oh, they're giving away free money,
yeah, I hear you.
celebrate my business.
So it might be worth us to kind of look at like kind of a standard sponsorship from the board, what we might be able to partner with. I agree with what Steve said. There is a misconception that like Furling's Fest, for example, I did not plan all of that event. That was a majority lift from Tommyknockers as the headlining sponsor of that event. That, you know, their staff, Steve, they put in a ton of effort into putting that event into place. You know, there's a lot of organization that goes behind putting off these events. While it would be great to have an event every weekend, we don't have the capacity or staff to take care of that. So businesses, if you guys want to throw a block party that's outside of the business block parties that we have scheduled this summer, yeah, or power to you, go for it. Please do it. And I'm happy from the administrative end to come around, support and help. What do you think?
Just like some requirements, like the date, you know, whatever activities.
And also it's being pitched as kind of a open event, not just like, event for that business, for their people. If it's more of a citywide thing, and you open it up and see if any more people.
Right. And I think that's what the Slaymakers are doing for this, for sure. They're wanting this to be a community-driven celebration.
And that being said, if that's the case, we need a vote or something,
We
I'm
will,
approved.
it's on the action items when we get there, so. Yep, it's coming up. I want to call into a request. There's a group called Community Connectors. They do a new resident welcome bag. And sorry, my flyer is disgusting because it's got coffee spill all over it. They do a new resident welcome bag. This was done a long time ago. I think this was like pre-COVID because my branding on here for Idaho Springs is really old. So I'm like, wow, this is classy. So they're wanting to do this again. They're wanting to give this a refresh. They get all new residents within Clear Creek County. If you're a new resident, you get a welcome bag from the Community Connectors group. They would like to do this. My thought is if we have a standard offer from a lot of businesses, such as the CDOT offer or some of those things, I could create a standardized one of these that we could put in that are, these are the BCPV businesses that are offering these discounts. Versus, I know businesses, we get bombarded by, hey, give my group a discount. Hey, sponsor this. Hey, if I have some boilerplate things that it's like, hey, Tommyknockers always does free beer with purchase over $25 and we can do new code resident. And then we can have a sheet that has all of the approved discounts and what they look like. That might help businesses and their staff. So something to consider. I don't know that we have an immediate answer for these guys, but it's something to really continue.
So how does the business know the customers?
They apparently bring in this thing, because some of these, like, I mean, they're actually, to be clear with you, a lot of these are not clear. Like the rec one on here, just so you know, says free day pass, valid until 12/31 of 22. So I think there's like some understanding that this might need to be thought from a back end approach. Like I might need to come up with a more standardized format for this that might be, hey, these are the official business discounts that we offer. And maybe we have a new resident code and the CDOT code or whatever it is, but this is what they're asking for, and I'm not sure how helpful. it's gonna
Like
be.
for us, that offer that you're mentioning, we have a card,
Yeah.
so we don't fail at the communication part on our side, so we bring in, we know where it came from and what we get.
Yeah, and we could even put the card on a piece of paper that then they would bring in the piece of paper with them. But right now, it's just literally 2 pieces of paper. Sorry, it's horribly stained. It does say on here, many businesses offer local discounts. Be sure to tell them you're a local. So I think there's room for improvement to partner with these guys. Lori Buckle runs this group. I'm also working with Lori Beckel on like a community connectors, like community fair of all of the community services that we offer in September. So it might be something that we kind of be like, hey, there's interest in participating, but the board might want to look at a more consistent way to offer that.
Maybe like some kind of email collection type thing.
Yeah.
Good too, like.
When we can host it on the website
Website,
too,
yeah.
you know, like these are the new resident discounts and then it's a living, breathing thing. So if it's the rec wants to offer free passes through the end of this year, cool, but then they could upload a new one easily through that and keep it up to date versus having, you know, we could just say, have a cool little thing, new residents discounts, see this website, and it could be just a QR code. And then we could have it changing and new businesses come on, that might be,
Or we get their contact info too.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's nice as a business to be able to track things, and so I like what Steve was saying, like, I don't know if that paper can be like where you just cut out the little coupon or whatever you wanna call it, and it can be updated as needed, but that way, cause my staff, I mean, they can say resident all day long, my staff isn't gonna keep track of who's saying resident, but if it's a piece of paper, they just throw it in an envelope, and at the end of the month, I look at it and say, oh, this is really doing well.
All right, cool, I'll kind of push that back a little bit and we'll see what we can do on that. We're working on the CDOT marketing campaign, that's coming, it's doing great. If for you that don't know, we are working on a partnership with CDOT on the text alert program. Where if people show proof that they've signed up for the text alert, they get an exclusive discount at Idaho Springs businesses. This is going to be marketed both through us and through CDOT. So CDOT's going to be advertising this through their newsletters, their social. So it's going to be a pretty awesome way for us to reach. Right now, they have 17,000 subscribers on their text alert system. And they are going to be sending out some marketing style texts on that text alert thread that says, hey, don't forget to visit Idaho Springs, you know, Idaho Springs is open, check out this page for exclusive discounts. So there will be that. They also will be rotating the discount, like businesses at the bottom of their newsletter. They have an internal and an external newsletter, so they'll be rotating those discounts through that newsletter. So that's working. Some of you have already sent me your CDOT ones, and then we'll keep that going. I'll keep you guys up to date as that gets finalized and when it will be officially kicked off. On to branded designs. We've started to execute some branded designs. One of the most requested things from businesses, especially in the historic district, has been some kind of signage on the barricades to make it not look like a construction zone. So what you see in the director's report is a first draft. How we would attach that, how it would be formatted on the barricades is still up for discussion. I'll throw it up on the board so everybody can see it. It's gonna be kind of tiny up here, but Steve brought up a good point of how big we make it will be dependent on if you can see this verbiage while driving, or if this verbiage is meant for the walking traffic.
And is it bold enough? I mean, bright enough?
It could also be a totally different color, like it could be brighter and a little bit bigger as well. This is just first draft design, again, to continue. This is definitely the one that people have requested the most. Please put something on the barricades that makes them not look like a construction zone.
Let's say do not enter.
It has to say do not enter in some way or form because of the road rule, something road rules.
Or have a one-way sign, I think that was the other.
Vehicles do not enter.
Yeah,
To me, it says people do not enter. It's like.
well, I mean, at least we got smaller do not enter. They're at least not huge massive. They do at least look better.
I guess Arvadas doesn't say that.
It doesn't say do not enter.
It doesn't.
Oh, but I wonder if there's, I don't know.
I mean, I wonder if
I just.
we really do have.
Is Arvadas ever open for cars?
No.
No,
That's-
I think that's the difference.
Well, that's an easy fix then.
Yeah, maybe we should just never open it for cars. No, I'm just not kidding, I'm kidding. Okay,
And
I
I
think-
still don't like the SPGS. We fought with CDOT for years to get them to use springs. And now they're using springs and we're using spins. But my opinion,
it doesn't fit in a lot of things is the only reason there is a short version. We could put Idaho Springs on that one for sure. Again, options are things from a scalability standpoint, it doesn't fit. But we have multiple versions of this little guy right here. And that could all say just Idaho Springs. However, having something even that just says, welcome to Minor Street Market, you know, without even this verbiage here, with, you know, some,
in Idaho Springs.
yeah, that says, welcome to Minor Street Market, Idaho Springs right here. That might even be a great, something other than, this is version 1, I hear a lot of the feedback. Any other thoughts and feedback on this side?
Historic Minor Street
I would say.
in historic Idaho Springs.
Well, I would say the welcome to historic Idaho Springs or Idaho Springs. You know, please visit Minor Street Market.
And then an
The
arrow.
welcome to Idaho Springs. maybe.
Like that way, like kind of like that direction, like an arrow maybe, okay?
What do you think? Welcome to it, or not?
Or welcome to Idaho Springs Minor Street Market.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Something like we roll at a wagon's pace, or like make it just, you know, shorten it a
Short,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, so just like, yeah, we roll it, yeah, okay.
Like, so to decide if you're so looking at driving by or if you're walking by.
I think it should be both. That's why if we take out a lot of the other verbiage and shorten it and it says something like, welcome to Idaho Springs, Minor Street Market, we roll at a wagon's pace, and then with an arrow that kind of goes down that way.
On the barricade, that's the main thing is that detour arrow.
Well, the detour arrow is again, a sign we could get a different detour sign, like we could order a smaller detour sign that goes, that's another thing because the road is official. Yeah, this is like an all traffic, like if we put that kind of a sign
That's
up,
better.
then we could do
I
that,
think we do need to tell the cars where to go.
where to go.
Yeah.
So we could use more of that instead of the big orange detour, that could be underneath. This could be on the top section of it.
This detour feels like temporary, like storyline sometimes.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, it used to be like this, now do this.
Detour, I automatically think construction
Yeah.
or something, or
So what I'll do is I will go back at this, and do another version and you guys will get a poll via email on that banner specifically. Next one is the tent toppers. Oh, go ahead.
As an engineering designer for roadway, you don't want more than 3 words.
Okay.
That's, if you notice, most of your road signs, 3 words is the max. Anything more than that, you take people's attention away from it, could be a possible problem.
Yeah, and
But
that's
these are the
usually
10
for
mile an hour.
drivers, that's.
So something like that, that's for walkers. That you wouldn't expect somebody going 20 miles an hour to look at that.
I mean, in general, I think, you know, it just gives it, even if the biggest words on it are Minor Street Market and that's really all they can see, then they at
Or if
least
you're
have.
not parking this way. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's more like informative or like wayfinding.
This is a little bit more
Good for
informative.
Informative, but
Yeah.
it sounds like feedback is wayfinding and stuff right there,
Yeah.
especially from people.
Yeah,
Throw
so
it up.
simplifying it down, make it a little bit more wayfinding, less marketing.
Less
kind of thing.
interpretive.
Less interpretive, okay.
But I think, to your point about the parking, you know, turning left or going north isn't where we want to direct people that want to park, is it?
Well, we would have to have multiple versions of the sign because of the different directions.
And wayfinding is coming up.
It is. This is just kind of a stopgap number, you know, biggest request that I've heard from business
Yes.
owners is put a sign on the barricades that is better than what it is right now. So again, this might be.
Here.
This might be just like, you know, let's spend a little right now to have something a little better than we have, and then maybe we don't spend a ton, maybe we don't do every single barricade, maybe we do the gates on the open and maybe like one in the middle by the park. And it's not every barricade or something like that.
Instead of do not enter, can we do like pedestrian traffic only?
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, I like that.
3 words, 3 words.
And is it a dismount zone
That's
or
my
not?
word,
It's
3 words.
not technically a dismount zone, the sidewalks are a dismount zone, but the street is not a dismount zone. So that's city code thing, and Dylan and I have talked a little bit about that. The dismount zone on Minor. This is how we wanna go about that. The branded tents, I really would like at least one, for 4th of July. We are also gonna have a 4th of July branded banner that you guys will see, board, you guys will see that in your email box for a poll. In the next couple of days, I sent it back for revision, but we will have official Idaho Springs 4th of July banners, which we've never had before. So that'll be fun. Leading up to 4th of July, we could mount them on stakes and put them at the roundabout. That would say Idaho Springs Town Party, 4th of July. And then on 4th of July, we'll have them displayed on the stage and the backdrop of the stage. So you guys will see that design. This is the tent design. We, as the city of Idaho Springs, used to have 4 white tents to use during events. Now we have 1 white tent. Steve's brought up some great points about sourcing and like consistent sourcing because these do break. What's nice is we can buy them from a decently heavy duty supplier that they're pretty well wind resistant. As long as no one, tries to rip them down while they're attached to something, we will not bend the poles. They are fragile though, there's just no question about them.
I think, do we have all the same ones, Steve? Argo, you?
No,
I mean, that's kind of handy if we've all got the same frames.
we don't even have all the same frame, this is from us, it's in.
Yeah, we should
different, they
make
just
sure
all-
we're
They
consistent.
rattle apart, and you gotta, every suppliers have proprietary bolt that holds this together, and it's kind of pain if you don't have the same ones.
So minus the supplier, what does everybody think of the design?
I don't like spigs.
We can say Idaho Springs on the side of the tent.
You're not, okay. I'm just,
It will fit on the whole side, Idaho Springs.
Not an eye.
All right, so spell out Idaho Springs. Any other thoughts on the tent frame? Awesome. I'm gonna keep moving then. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about some events. We have really, since our last meeting, we've done a bunch of things. Outdoor Fest was successful. I think this might be a good time for me to talk about, county tourism hit some hiccups. Cassandra Patton is no longer with county tourism, as the director. I've been approached by the deputy county manager to get involved, and his idea was that Georgetown Jess and me could split the duties of the director of county tourism, and I kind of laughed.
And I kind of laugh at that because he said none of that to any of us.
Yeah.
And we've been instructed by the Board of County Commissioners to put together a job description and go find somebody.
Good, that's what I
So-
wanna hear. Okay, cool. So I basically said that that's not something I'm really interested in. I am interested in however I can help partner to help support county tourism. If we're moving in a direction where it's collaborative and it feels like there's a seat at the table for Idaho Springs to participate in a equal and collaborative approach. So I was very clear with him. He is going to come in June and talk to us. What I did find out is a lot of the way I was taught how to read Placer is incorrect. So I haven't been giving you guys the most accurate information regarding Placer data. So I'm just gonna say that's my bad. I didn't double check. I just trusted the information I was given, so I apologize for that. He is going to come and present a visitor analytic package for us and talk to us about who is our visitor? Where do they come from? What is our major leakage, which means who's the biggest category we're missing? How do we talk to them? And how we work with the data that the county has access to. So he'll be coming in July to talk to us. That's great. On that note, from the Outdoor Fest, it was very thrown together at the last minute. I think it was worth it. I think if we do it again, we just need to make sure we're on the same page. And that we have a plan, a better executed plan going in. Furlings Fest, fun event. I think the biggest thing we learned from Furling's Fest was that it wasn't as clearly communicated, and again, this was a cross between Jeff, Tommy Knockers and I, about advertising about the donation, that we were raising money for the nonprofits that were there. It wasn't as clearly communicated to the visitor that that was happening, so there was a little bit of cross there. So Jeff and I have talked about a plan for next year on how to make that more clear, as well as to entice in more rescues by saying, hey, this is how much money we raised last year. I'm still getting those final figures in, which is why you don't see any of those figures in Furling's Fest recap. And we say, hey, we raised this much money for the rescues last year. Don't you think you want to come and bring actual adoptable dogs instead of no dogs? That'd be great. So I think we'll have a better luck with that next year.
The Furling Fest was wonderful, and it was the prior year. And I spoke briefly to Tommy Knockers about people aren't always available just on Saturday, other things to do. So I was saying, and we all have to get together, not put it just on Tommy Knockers, but to extend it the weekend. A lot of people work. I can't go up there on Saturday, but I could go on Sunday.
So yes, and I love that. And running events takes volunteers. It takes my time. It takes volunteers and a staff. I personally paid event staff to help with Furling's Fest because I didn't get any volunteers to help except for Steve and his staff. And that's unfair onus to put on one business. I can't go to every single person and be like, hey, volunteer, hey,
But there
volunteer.
was, I didn't see anything that said that you guys needed volunteers.
It was in every email leading up to Furling's Fest. I need volunteers for flowers, I need volunteers for Furling Fest, and I need volunteers for 4th of July.
You need it for everything.
I need it for everything. I have a group, I have
That's
gotten
my
some community connectors, Mike's one, Cam's one, I've got some people that are now like, I'm sending them emails that say, hey, these are the things I really need right now, and then they're now reaching into their networks to say, hey, it's so hard to educate and get people to show up, but I tell you, like, the people that show up are the people that I like know are gonna show up, and I twist their arms to show up. So this is where I would love to be able to do a weekend event. I, however, cannot count on the people, we'd have to increase our events budget and pay an event
Well,
staff.
when I saw the volunteers needed, I thought that there's different things that people can volunteer for. In other words, I can't be out there all day working on volunteer stuff, but I could do prior stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, the only way for me to know that is if someone reaches out to me and say, hey, I'm willing to help, and I can say, cool, what are you willing to help me with? But I literally got Lauren, one person, I got like one person outside of the people that paid that said, hey, how can I help? Like, I can't, I also have so much to do. I can't go to every single one and be like, hey, do you
Well,
have?
no, I'm not insinuating that you do that. What I'm insinuating is that maybe it is a little clearer about, okay, is anybody available from noon to 2 to do this? I mean, I don't know what you need.
Right, again, from an event management standpoint, for me to send out like it would be way too much information, because I would say, hey, I need setup for this time, it's more like, hey, I need volunteers. And I can say, there's lots of opportunities, please reach out to me if you're interested for an hour, or if I could be more clear that way. So I can definitely do that, but to put out a whole like list of needs, people
Okay,
already.
well, just
don't
something
read my
that
emails.
people don't think is gonna be all day long.
No, I can put in some verbiage in there that says I've got hours or small time too.
So it sounds like a multi-day event could be really great, but more support from all of the businesses would be helpful, and more details on volunteering opportunities would maybe provide that capacity.
Yeah.
Budget.
Yeah, and more money, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a decent amount, I mean, this year, again, when we look at budget, when we start looking at budget later in a little bit, actually, it's coming up before we know it, we're gonna blink and we're gonna be talking budget. We can definitely talk about increasing our events budget if that's something that is what we want to be focusing on. So, because again, Steve says it does take staff. I mean, we could easily hire someone to help do, a day of event coordination, which is an
Who was
excellent.
it you had to pay out of your own pocket?
I paid just event staff, people to be there to help break down tents, put up tents. Yeah, so. it
So
was
they
not-
weren't volunteers.
They were not volunteers because I only got one volunteer for the day.
Yeah, that's not good.
Sadie, since, you know how we've melded the chamber into this, right?
I mean, from
We
a,
don't
cer-
have a chamber.
we don't have a chamber now.
Right. We don't have a chamber. And how many businesses do we have right in the 3 blocks? Roughly,
58
Okay.
to 80.
Well, there's
I guess.
58
Okay, well,
buildings. And how
when
many
we first
businesses
got
do we
here,
build?
you know, the chamber was pretty active, it seemed, and then it went. And, you know, there was only a handful, I think you said, I think at one point there was only like 20 businesses in the chamber.
Seven.
You know, okay, well, everybody on Minor Street benefited from the Furlong Fest, for an example. All businesses should have. And so something's wrong with this picture, that the people, like, this thing was, they weren't joining because they didn't see any benefit to it. Okay, so we lost that, so how do we, I mean, there needs to be the businesses need to be participating, you know, and contributing, paying. I mean, something is lost here, because you've got your people in here and all that are active on your board and all that. I don't understand how we need, this is in no way a criticism of anything. I'm just saying, we went from people saying, I'm not a member of chamber, so I didn't see any benefit. And here you are, we've got an office, or not an office, but your position, it's official, and all the things you're trying to do we're trying to do, and it benefits everyone. I mean, I don't know, there could be exceptions, I don't know, but for the most part, so now they're not having to pay, you know, membership fees, they're not having to volunteer, they're not. You get what I'm saying, kind of, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, some businesses have always participated and some
Right.
businesses have not.
Maybe Mariah and Margaret become the volunteer coordinators.
Yeah, you guys wanna be volunteer coordinators?
Thanks.
Love that idea, love that idea.
I'm
I love that.
I'm not looking for volunteers, I'm looking for money from as we used to have to do.
Well, we have budget. It's not
Yeah,
about,
but
it's
still,
not about the money, because we have budget, and if this board wants to look at, and we've talked about this, at some point, this board could look at making a recommendation to city council that we increase the business license fee to include a amount of money that would go directly to this board's budget. And that might be something we look at when we're talking about budget this year. That's been brought up several times. That's not something city council has said that they weren't interested in. They're open to that as we continue to show that this works. We only pay a $75 business license in Idaho Springs. It's minimal compared to many other municipalities.
Sure.
So it is a potential we could do something like that. But I'm gonna keep our train moving because I wanna make sure that these guys have a chance to present. So good points. I appreciate
And
it.
just real fast, just to say, I also think this is very new.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a minute to grow it.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we're always moving in the right direction, that's the important thing, not that we start where we wanna end.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
So-
I appreciate that.
And say sales tax too.
Yeah.
Like those businesses existing puts money into the, something.
Exactly.
The buy-in would be great, but
Or
like the
just
fact that,
skin in the game, maybe they don't have to put money into it, but if you have a problem with volunteers, go there and pressure them, say, hey, I'm not gonna pay into this, but send over an employee or two.
But we also have to prove that we're participating with.
Yeah.
So there might be some, a little bit building of trust and community in order to get to there too.
Feel them out.
We're getting there. I'm gonna keep us moving because I really want to talk about the exciting thing that the flower program did. And then I will be done talking about my director's report. I'm super psyched. Tara did an excellent job. The flowers look great. I'm really grateful. We were able to raise $1,234. Thank you, businesses, for participating. So for businesses that bought business flowers, we did charge quote unquote a little bit more than cost. It was still a great deal for what you got. We were able to raise money. So we had talked to people about that we were gonna donate that money back to the skate park. And so we thought we should buy a brick. with the Visit Idaho Springs logo on it. I
Perfect.
mean, come on, that's like the perfect thing. I think that buys us a pretty big brick.
Yeah, because.
Like, you get like the big size brick. Yeah.
Participated on there and business community promotion corridor, we can have like a little.
Yeah, we got some room because this is a good amount of money. We could get some good brick stuff going on. So pretty excited about that. This is the first time Tara and I tried it this way and it was successful. And we're really grateful for the
We
opportunity.
could do that because of the funding.
Yeah.
Before we were trying to make money for the chambers, that was
Yeah.
nice, is that there was like a little bit to put somewhere else for the town.
The flower thing over at the Oaks Farm?
No, this is the
That's the
business
garden club.
flower program. So all the city flowers, we purchase from one vendor. So we get a really nice bulk date rate. So we purchased city flowers and then the businesses had opportunity to buy a flower package.
Which nice of it.
Yeah, good. It's looking really nice.
And
though.
Stadium, I have ideas for next year to improve it, to streamline it more and potentially make like more options for people. We're still kind of like getting there with that, but I do really appreciate everybody who volunteered and came out. Andy was out there. A few people
Mike
just
and Dylan
out
were there.
so-
Yeah, it was fun. We had a good day at Bikini Cave. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for that. So then on the note of the fun things, 4th of July is right around the corner. I need volunteers. Okay?
What'd you say?
I mean, like legitimate volunteers for 4th of July. There are lots of opportunities on 4th of July. Small time commitments, larger time commitments. There are lots of opportunities for 4th of July, especially from the business standpoint, minus the volunteers. Please, if you guys are gonna do any kind of specials on 4th of July, get me that information. We're gonna be advertising specials in the park. So make sure both on the MC is gonna be advertising specials as well as we'll have printed signage about the specials. So if you're offering anything for 4th of July, get it to me as soon as possible. I think I said by June 25th is the hard deadline for that. And then we are, Mary Jane has graciously offered to allow the green room to be at the Majestic. However, I don't want to put the entire burden on her. So if you guys would like to sponsor any green rooms, if you guys want a bottle of wine in the green room from Bee's Knees, or if Slaymakers wants to put some mead in the green room, or Tommy Knockers wants to put some beer in the green room, if you guys want, or food in the green room.
We really got good comments on that one.
We got great comments on the green room last year. We got big names again. Almost all of String Cheese Incident is coming. We're just missing one member of String Cheese. We can't call it String Cheese because we're missing one member, but we are pretty much having string cheese for 4th of July. I mean, that's a huge deal. Posters are here. This is the lineup. Dan Rodriguez is another big name on there. He's doing a lot. He's played with a bunch of people, but he's really hitting the road. The Rough and Tumble Honey Badgers, they've played at the United Center a bunch. There you've got a really big local following. Of course, Kind Mountain's playing, Mark Morris is playing. It'll be a fun day. We are pushing music almost to fireworks this year. That was another extension this year. Instead of closing music down at 8, we're pushing music almost to 9:30. Fireworks should be about 9:45. We have a blow up bull rider. We have blow up axe throwing. We have a bunch of carnival games coming. It's gonna be a scene. So grab your flyers. It's on the handle there. I think that I covered all my things.
Maybe can I interrupt? I have to go meet the Denver Business Journal. And
Yes.
my head was not together under public comments. I just wanted to thank everybody for all your patience with all of our construction. And the city and Comba and the Argo will be closing Riverside Drive partially for the next couple months as we're building the cable car. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to call me because it's been a group decision. The city and Argo are also hosting the State Tourism Board
Yeah.
here on July 16th, or most of a day. And the parking on the west end of the Argo should be done this week. And the towers, the big tower flying for the Chinook helicopters will be July 12th or in that neighborhood.
Okay,
But I'll let people know as soon as we have an exact date. We're supposed to know by tomorrow.
I was gonna say, we're
But
still
We're
in
gonna have a
the,
big party.
we're still in the same place. And on the same note, that was my last thing to say. I sent out a press release today. The Mountain Park is officially opening Thursday to the public. we have a invite only soft opening happening tomorrow and Wednesday. So there will be bicyclists. You will see them there. If they're there, they're probably allowed to be there. But it's not open to the public officially until Thursday. We will be hosting our first official bike event at the mountain park. That will be on Wednesday. Wednesday evening is session series. So that will be the first official mountain.
Starting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. And then the next event will be the Trailgate. And Steve, remind me of Trailgate?
21st is Eagle.
Trail.
Yeah.
And that's an all day, or most day at the mountain park. Okay. Any other questions? I want to give HDR their time, so.
Sadie, I just want to mention, in your report, item 3, you do list out the specific volunteer and sponsorship
I do.
needs.
I
So
do.
you did a great job laying that out. If people want to get plugged in on some things,
You're
but
gonna-
not others.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're gonna kill me, but I'll make this very quick. Just a thought, it sounds like money is not the biggest challenge, but volunteers are a big challenge. So maybe if you do add an additional fee to the business license, that fee can be waived if businesses contribute a certain number of volunteer hours and show proof that they've done those volunteer hours and turn them into Wonder or whatever, and that portion of the business license gets waived. Maybe as an incentive to get people to provide some manpower.
That's an interesting thought. I like that.
So-
That's
Community service.
community service. Please help me. I swear, my children only get voluntold so much before they look at me and go, they are now adults, so they know what being paid is like. And I apparently now require pay if I tell them to do things. Okay, I am going to share my screen and turn the tables over to you guys. Thank you guys so much for being patient, as always.
Okay, and how long do we have?
You have about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Take it away, Jane.
We're just gonna dive right in. So we wanted to talk to you today. This is showing the entire program. Hopefully you're all familiar with, what the program is and what we're designing right now. The roundabout, number 1, number 2 is, the mobility hub. Number 3 is a parking structure. Number 4 is reconfiguration of the existing parking lot. Number 5 is what we're gonna talk about today, is redesigning Idaho Mall. And number 6 is Minor Street redesign, which we did a lot of last year and the last couple of years. But we haven't talked a lot about Idaho Mall. And so we wanted to do that today. We're gonna skip the next 2 slides, Sadie, and
Okay.
jump right to, we can come back to those in Q&A with their process. So in the downtown plan, which was completed in 2021, we looked at the Idaho Mall at a high level. And themes of the railroad came up because this is the alignment of the railroad, historically. And so you can see we're starting to, lay this out conceptually. We came and met with, most of the businesses that have access to
Every business.
Idaho Mall, every business that has, access to Idaho Mall, about a month ago. So we had a good walk and talk with those folks and understand what their needs are, what their desires are for the future, how loading and unloading trash and stuff happens. So all of that is taken into account. What you're looking at is kind of the design of the redesign of the parking lot. We're gonna zoom in block by block and we'll walk you through that. So, but just high level, throwing in the depot, the crossing, the rail, the yard, trying to get that railroad theme back in. And also just here are some historic photos. We're trying to look at historic photos and understand, what the function was, what it looked like back in the day. Let's go to the next slide. Just some precedent images, some inspiration that we're using for the design moving forward. A lot of wood and steel and railroad tie back, not to be too kitschy, but using actual railroad pieces in the design of the spaces. And so we're getting really excited about that.
Next slide. So these red lines are showing the existing space that exists. And, you can see layered behind that is the new space. And what we're finding is that basically from 15th to 17th, we're gaining a lot of, space. And so that provides a lot of opportunity for the businesses to, have more formal space if they want to, for patio, outdoor dining. Have more trees, we're undergrounding the utilities, so we can have a buffer between the cars and pedestrians and really create a true pedestrian mall space. Next slide. Oh, go back one slide. This also has parking counts on it, and so in total, we're gaining about more than 200 spaces. That's what than what exists today versus the future condition with the parking structure.
So to read it out loud for you guys, existing, we have 248 parking spaces back there. The total proposed is 449.
We're
including-
still working on that.
Right.
We're trying to fit in more and more.
And that includes the deck in
Mhm.
addition.
Yeah. And the next slide shows section cuts. So top and bottom are before and afters of, the first one is Idaho Street. So this is taken through Tommyknockers, Steve. So showing how deliveries happen today. You've got the wide, access today. And we watched with Steve how the trucks come in and out of there to understand that. And then with the garage, we have settled on a garage configuration that gives you 21 feet. And we're still working through this, but we want to, make that all pedestrian and loading only. We're trying to figure out, access to route cars through the garage that could go, if they want to go through the garage or around town to the lot, but we'd like to keep the entirety of the 3 blocks of Idaho Mall, or Railroad Alley, as Bob Boland would like to call it. And so you can see some like string lighting, that could be a really nice space, but also serve as loading for those businesses, trash pickup, things like that. And so it goes from about 28 feet today to 21 feet. So you're losing 7 feet, but you're not losing 13, which was gonna be the case. And then this section cut top to bottom on the right is through Bojo's. So they have the raised entrance there. And they did have during COVID some seating out there. So we're showing, what that looks like. It's about 26 feet today, but that curb is there, which makes it, anywhere from like 19 to 26 really, with the big parking lot, and the future condition would be about 35 feet. So you're gaining 9 feet of space. So we have a lot more to work with. We can put, trees there when we underground the utility lines. So that's kind of what it looks like in section, and Bill's gonna walk us through block by block so you can kind of zoom in and see what's going on for each block.
Yeah, so I mean, as Cheney said, the theme I think is really important all the way through. So, as we walk through all of these blocks, I think there's continuity that we want to say about the kind of overarching theme of the rail, how we bring the historical kind of component of Idaho Springs and the mining into this as well, but really emphasizing the rail. And I think when we go through this, you'll start to see kind of bold expressions of, excuse me, the rail being expressed in items like laying the tracks within the paving, so you can kind of see that running through the whole site. You could see abstract expressions of the rail with maybe customized bench features that resemble stacked railroad ties and some of those kind of components. You might pick up on the mining theme with, some stones and boulders that people can sit on, but they have the drill blast holes on the side of them, and detailed components like that truly bring this rail and mining kind of component together. And I think also as we look at the overall piece, there's the overarching kind of design principles, I think, that we want to look at are kind of the balance of the parking lot, which we made very efficient, maximize the parking spaces, but we gained all of the space for pedestrian realm as much as possible to gain kind of placemaking and opportunities back for all of those businesses and the city. We looked at flexibility for existing businesses, the city, future businesses on the backside of an Idaho Mall. And then the buffer, is another thing that we look through with the whole Idaho Mall on how we relate that edge of the parking lot. Because right now we're looking over asphalt parking lot. There's I-70 in the background. So how do we kind of soften that to make this a really inviting pedestrian area for the community and visitors? But also we want to maintain visibility in places to the Water Wheel Park, the waterfall, how important that tie is as well. So those are some of the just bigger picture overarching things we want, that you'll see through all of these blocks. But this is an atypical block in the way that we're carrying the deliveries, at least the deliveries and services through, as we talked about. So it's the Tommyknocker and the new parking structure. You can see that, we have that pinch point, as Cheney just mentioned, at 21 feet, but how do we activate that and make it pedestrian friendly? Opportunities both on the ground plane with the design of the paving, the rail line running through, but how do we architecturally activate walls with potential murals? Maybe they play up the theme of the rail, as you can see in the precedent image on the left-hand side. And then again, that idea of overhead lighting canopy, creating that ambiance. So you can see that on the right precedent image. You can also see here that with the future of Roberts Brothers Garage, which is being preserved, we've with this layout, we've preserved opportunity for a future patio for whatever use that becomes on the north and south side of that garage as a potential to help activate the whole mall. As we move down to the next block, you'll see at every intersection, we're enhancing that paving. We want this to read as a continuous mall all the way through, like Miners Street. And carry that all the way from City Hall, all the way up to the mobility hub. This central block, you'll see on the eye on the left-hand side, and this is consistent on both the central block and the eastern block, but carrying an opportunity for a sculpture, an artifact, something of the rail that might carry the theme from Anderson Park with the rail cars itself, all the way through, of just those special moments for placemaking opportunities. So we have this opportunity kind of at the intersection to activate that space. And then from the parking lot you'll see kind of a planted buffer with the trees, the canopy, the shade that Cheney was talking about, but giving that sense of separation and nicer environment for the pedestrians to walk along that railway or Idaho Mall. And then consistently along this mall, we're preserving that space for flexibility along the back of the businesses for maximizing patio and usable space adjacent to the business owners. The Vintage Moose, we have another, we proposed moving their storage building to the southwest corner, and that allows for an opportunity for a continuous patio space to wrap to the western side. As we carry down through, this block on the east, right by us here, has a tremendous opportunity with the way the parking lot is laid out. Every one of those little wedge triangular spaces that lead out to the parking is a very broad space for gaining to the pedestrian, taking away from the asphalt parking lot. So what we're proposing, and love to hear ideas from the board and the community on opportunities, we see, on the left-hand side, we're proposing more of a grove space. There could be flexible seating for the community, for the business owners when they're waiting for restaurants and tables, they could sit out there. So opportunity for flexible seating. And then on the right-hand side right now, we're showing more of a lawn space, but I know the downtown master plan had proposed a playground, I think, associated with Anderson Park. This is a great opportunity and a much larger space for that potential to accommodate maybe a playground of some scale for the community, if is that a location that we want to be placed. And then the next slide is just representative of, as we work through this process, we will continue to iterate on creating the best design. So this is starting to show just iterations of themes of how we can start to create buffer and advance this design in the most meaningful way, and we'll continue to do that through this whole process. I won't get into the specifics of the differences here, I think is, and then we want to end on two just informative slides for diagrams. The pink locations on these slides, this is about patio environments for the businesses and adjacent to the business owners within the Idaho Mall. So on the left-hand side, the pink is more of a temporary space because we are gonna have to rely at least on deliveries through that space, so we can't have more of a permanent installation out there like Westbound and Down, other places have within the alley space. The darker blue color is more of a permanent installation where you'll have to pull it for street sweeping and cleaning and other things like that. But those are opportunities along this whole Idaho Mall for where we see those spaces being more of that permanent patio space installation. And then the green is kind of existing patios right now that we would be maintaining for those business owners and groups. Also, you know, with Westbound and Down, that would be a more of that permanent installation, but an encroachment into the Idaho Springs or Idaho Mall. And then the final slide is just touching on
Well, not colors,
Somehow-
it's colors.
somehow the color.
But here's delivery right there. There you go. I like
That
it.
went black and white.
It's totally
Um,
black and white there, but.
Wow, that must be a printing error. So the circles, as you can see, that's unfortunate, but what we are proposing is central, and I'll have a pointer.
I'll
But,
zoom in.
okay, yeah, central to, so if you see the circular dots behind Tommy Knockers, across from Roberts Brothers Garage, the idea there is, you know, we have service delivery, trash pickup along that corridor, because that's going to be open to at least minimum that type of use. We have another delivery, drop-off location, by Vintage Moose at 16th that they're currently just parking on the street and running it up. We also have one to the south of Vintage Moose with the understanding that kind of using the parking lot, we can, you know, provide deliveries along that whole corridor.
This is the central trash for that block, right?
Correct, and
Yeah.
that is the central trash, which we didn't talk about, which is, this would be the good timing to talk about that. We are proposing, central trash, yes, right, right there for this central block of Idaho Mall. And then another, central trash right over here. That could be utilized by each of these blocks instead of having individual containers or things out there visible. They would just have a central trash container for pickup and use by all of the business owners. And then we will have to have individual and private trash collection along our 14th to 15th section. Or they could, you know, those business owners could potentially maybe use the central block or central trash at 15th and 16th if desired, but we currently just have them at the back of those businesses, as they're being done today. Yeah, I apologize. And Westbound and Down, I don't know if the representatives are in the room today, but we have maintained, it was important for them to maintain the delivery crossing across directly in the dot, so sorry, to the south
Here.
city. Yes. So we have a crossing that we're integrating into the design, that it's more about the pedestrian environment. We have a rollover curb consideration where they could back up to that delivery point.
For their
Um,
kegs, right?
Yes, their kegs and potential trash pickup. But we integrated that into the design so it doesn't, you know, look and visually feel like a delivery and service drive. So I'll pause there and unless Chidi or Charlie wanna add anything, open it up to questions.
No, open for questions.
Yeah. Questions? Is Steve the only business representative along the mall here?
Yeah.
So that behind Tommy Knockers, that'd be blocked on the 15th side?
Mm-hmm.
So right there. So they would essentially, trucks would pull in, back out. Right?
What I would think they would pull
Back in.
probably through from 14th. And it would be like a chain or something that's dropped, but it's not. And again, I know Charlie and the HDR team are studying, does it need to maintain one-way vehicular or not? But the intent and the hope is that we can get it to service and deliveries only, that they would pull through from 14th through to 15th. So there would be a through path, is my assumption.
So you're saying we could drive like a trash truck?
For a smaller truck, the same as what we talked about before. we would expect those larger vehicles, the semi trucks,
To back
to
in.
back out.
Like they
Or
do
back
today.
And what about utilities, the power lines getting buried? and
Our lines and
sewer?
communications should all go underground.
I see that you have lights planned for that section. Would it make sense to maybe have the lights in an area that is more pedestrian, like? I know, and I can't envision like, cause I can see the back of Tommy Knockers and they have, you know, their trash stuff and employees hang out back there, as with many businesses in our alley too. To smoke cigarettes, and then there's like an oil container for the fryer, and like, does that change to make it more pedestrian friendly, or does it make more sense to have the lights and things down more around the park areas? And this isn't, I mean, that's just what our alleys have been used for. It's nothing against Tommy Knockers, it's just, that's the nature of it currently. So I wasn't
Yeah.
sure, like,
We put them there for two reasons. One is to make the parking structure feel safer,
okay,
to light it up, especially at night when you're walking to your car in a dark, you know, what can feel dark. And two is because the wind loads up here, it is protected on both sides by
Okay.
buildings. And so that was another reason why, but it doesn't mean that there can't be lights in other places too. It just, you do have to take into account wind loads up
yeah, that's true.
here, for lights, so.
And
something.
we do have lights, just regular pedestrian lights that will march down the entire mall corridor. This is just the area where it had that opportunity for the overhead string lights to kind of carry you through this, like a little bit more of a canyon environment. And that's why, you know, it is kind of back of house of Tommy Knockers, but that's where how do we connect the main mobility hub if people are walking Idaho Mall all the way through without putting them into traffic or something? So we still wanted to elevate that space to make that full connection along Idaho Mall to the mobility hub. And that's where I think, you know, if you walk it today, it is a stretch, but it's not extremely long. And if there's opportunity to activate the face of the architecture, make it interesting, you know, if there's opportunity for murals on Tommy Knockers, you know, that's all very interesting, engaging kind of to the pedestrian as they walk through that environment. If it's, so that's where we're trying to elevate kind of the conditions of both the ground plane, the architectural vertical planes, and the ceiling plane through there to kind of elevate
Yeah,
the
that makes sense.
energy.
So is this going to then pretty much take people from the parking garage and head them down this mall? You're calling it Idaho Mall?
That's what it's called today.
I mean, we see this.
I mean, shouldn't it be, instead of the back of the buildings going, I thought it was gonna go like Minor Street. As opposed,
So this is when people come into town, we're trying to direct people immediately into the parking structure. We want people to park right away and then get out of their cars and walk to Minor Street. But we want that walk to Minor Street to be comfortable and inviting too. And so that's Idaho Mall. Right now, it's called Idaho Street from 14th to 15th because it is a two-way street. And then it's Idaho Mall, like behind Bojo's and westbound.
but why isn't it more, you're going behind the businesses and they can't, I mean, why aren't we directing them, you know, on 14th Street?
To take them to, I kind of agreed there to take people to the top of Minor Street, so they're not missing that entire block, because now you drive in and you see the top of Minor Street and you go and experience the whole street. But if you're immediately going into a parking garage, entering on 15th, like,
You're missing a whole block guiding people.
Yeah,
And we're business owners on that block, so we have a vested interest.
Tommy Knockers included, I mean, because they don't have a backdoor entrance. So it seems like if you made 14th Street part of this plan to make that really pedestrian friendly, so people can be directed both ways potentially.
yeah.
Program wide, we're definitely looking at improvements of all of the numbered streets to help tie that gap between Idaho Street and Minor Street. So we see these as two streets that very much complement each other, where Idaho has a little bit more space, a little bit of readability from businesses. So those could be like staging areas, things like that, places to linger a little bit more. And then Minor Street is a little bit more business focused, but
Yeah,
And then-
they're guiding the public
But of the number of
to the
streets,
south.
yeah,
Or
today
the
we've
east.
been pretty focused in on Idaho Street itself. We'll absolutely have those pedestrian connections up the number of blocks.
And then I have a question online. I know everybody's in the room got a lot, but I'm gonna, she's been holding her hand online for a minute. So Carla?
Hi, sorry. Thanks, Sadie. Hey, Bill, it's nice to see you, even though I don't see you in person. The behind the Opera House there, I am representing the owner of that project, and that will need to be a loading area back there in some way, and the door will be on the left-hand side. So, yep. And I know that's a tricky corner back there, and I like the idea of moving storage on the Vintage Moose to open that corner up. I'll also say that the owner of the Opera House, there's only 5 feet to the property line between the curb and the property line there, but she is fairly open to doing some different things behind her building there if it helps sort of that pinch point between her building and the restrooms. Although we are getting pretty close to issuing permit drawings back there, so that's something to just keep in mind.
And what type of vehicle, I mean, is it
So it will be a sound studio and a venue, a performance venue. So it'll mainly be bands bringing in drums and sound equipment and that kind of stuff if there's specialty lighting and stuff. So it will fit through a 6-foot door. There'll be a temporary ramp back there that would allow her to, put the ramp down when needed and take the ramp up when not needed. We've been working through that a little bit with planning. And then the door on the left-hand side will become a 6-foot door, and it'll go right into the building where there's an elevator to get. We're actually digging out a basement so that the venue is actually dropped below grade there.
okay, and the proximity with the truck or vehicle need to back up directly, did you say directly to the building?
Yeah, so knowing what exists there right now, we've talked about it being in line with one of those parking spaces to some degree, and just being able to load, drop the lift gate on the truck and unload and load right back there. So I think it's one parking space. And I think you've got, I think what you're showing there could work. It's just the tables. We would need to make sure that the tables are spaced in an appropriate manner to allow for that.
Right now, I think those are like a pedestrian symbol, without being zoomed in. But, so you're saying that as long as that third space is a loading space, the adjacency and the alignment with those doors currently almost really works with the current.
I think it would, yeah, that one where the break in the landscape there. Yep, I think that would work perfect from what I know. And I think you guys have done a great job on a number of these pieces, but I need to represent my client here, so I'm just letting you guys know that one piece.
Absolutely. And is there any interest, I know we didn't speak with you on the business walk, is there any interest in outdoor patio space back there for spill out or for however any of the programs working internally to the Opera House?
Yeah, she would love that. In fact, she proposed that initially about a year ago to try to figure out how to make some things work in the programming. So I think having that outdoor seating is fantastic.
Thanks, Carla.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Carla. Okay, Lauren?
Just one quick note, I know that you're trying to change the aesthetic to be like railroad. I know it's important to a lot of people, there's a lot of kids and stuff in town, that it is plush and easy to little strollers on. And ADA accessible, so just know that there's different textures and that's something to consider.
All of that, we would assume from, on this block, right now, we're proposing that the north curb above the heading parking, that would be a flush environment for accessibility, that some of these spaces might be accessible spaces. And from that curb to the base of the building would be a full flush environment, that there'd be no curbs or anything. Like today, you have that one south curb that kind of has that would all go away consistently on this block and the east block.
Sure.
So from the parking curb all the way to the base of the building would be a flush environment.
Yeah, just whatever texture you all end up doing them all,
Yeah.
and just making sure it's not necessarily cobblestone and something maybe a little bit more useful, practical for loading in and tables and chairs and everything.
Sure.
Just kind of adding on to that, that made me think about, more and more people riding bikes. Will there be bike racks and?
Not landed as much in this plan right now, but I think between Minor Street and Idaho Mall, that's a priority, we'll get more about that.
Have you considered 14th Street, that block on 14th from Idaho to Minor being also just pedestrian?
I don't think there's.
I don't think there's a way to do that because of the way that deliveries and access need to be able to function. I don't think we could block that.
That's one of the
No.
few two-way blocks.
Well, you wouldn't, I mean, wouldn't the trucks be coming, however,
The trucks come down 14th and come into Tommyknockers off of 14th. And
why don't they just come down Idaho?
So right now,
right here is kind of where we're.
so that the bump out on the left-hand side of the parking structure in the left southwest corner, that's the main lobby for the elevator stairs, where most people using the parking structure and needing accessibility, most people will be using that location, which is directly across from the bus depot.
Which is here.
Yes, yes, correct. That line work would be the buses looping through. So as people come out of that main lobby, they will be walking up to a crosswalk, which will be on 14th, taking them across and up to Minor Street. So that would be, and I think as Charlie mentioned, we are looking to elevate kind of the design of the numbered streets to get to Minor Street throughout this whole 6-block area. So that would be the main path of travel that people would utilize. The secondary entry is the stair core on the upper right, yep. And that's just a stair core for the second entrance that's needed into the garage. That would provide additional access to the garage off of Idaho. But we're really just trying to connect the theme all the way through, but I would assume, I would assume that the most movement and the way we can enhance 14th Street from the pedestrian sidewalk going north and where they come out of the garage, we're gonna carry people and direct people up to Minor Street as a primary movement.
So we're talking like this. So if I was like looking
Yes.
at like
Yes.
this right here.
It's
Plus
just not shown today because we were focused on Idaho Mall, but note taken, and we will definitely show improvements. When we're eventually gonna get to the whole, showing the whole program like this at this detail, and so we'll make sure to show that, wider sidewalk on 14th and up to Minor Street.
I will say that's been talked about a lot, the flow of traffic entering Minor Street on that end of 14th in Minor Street. And also, what this doesn't show is mobility hub and all that traffic over here.
Yeah.
That flow is going up to the beginning of 14th and Minor also, because obviously it's a concern of ours as well. My other question is any of the one-ways or two-ways becoming one-ways or one-ways, two-ways, direction of traffic changing?
We really think the system as it's working today will continue to work with what we're doing. So not changing where things are two-way, not changing or flipping directions on one-ways as of right now. We are pulling all of that into sort of a traffic study of what's going on in and around town and how we think these changes are going to impact that. But at this point, our early analysis says, no, we should keep it as it's working today.
My understanding also is that a part of the reason 14th is also needing to function that way is because of the design of the mobility hub and the way that that's gonna loop through, in that potentially this whole little corner right here is gonna have a different traffic, could have different traffic flow on it in general. It needs to maintain openness for that.
It depends on exactly the user that we're thinking about. Speaking to the buses specifically, we want them to come up Idaho,
Yeah.
go through the bus turnaround,
And then go.
leave right back out Idaho to the roundabout to get back on I-70. So we don't see buses using this portion of 14th, but we expect that other vehicles that are coming, kiss and ride type operations, people showing up to the mobility hub could use 14th as a loop going the other direction.
And I think there will be instances where people and vehicles will miss Idaho Street on a roundabout, because I mean, it's like my mom gets confused on roundabouts, where do I go? And they'll miss it and go to Minor Street, right? And then they'll have to come, and then they'll see Minor Street's closed and have to come down 14th.
Two routes to the same point, all leading to the parking structure.
As far as designing concerned, you might want to think about, if you're talking about having a single axle truck backing into that to unload, instead of like, if this is the spot that's gonna be a parking and loading and unloading, can't park here during certain times, I guess they're doing. Instead of having cars on either side, give the trucker a way out. Last time I did this, I made sure there was a sidewalk on this side, because trying to back in between two cars, it's scary as hell. A lot of people can't do that, so give them a curb to go over if they have to. Just so that.
Yeah. I think a stop, like a two-way stop out here would be really nice. The way that it's a one-way, then two people are coming. Like, there's no stop, there's one stop sign out there, I think there's two.
Are we talking here, Tara?
I think so. Like by pickaxe,
Yeah.
if you came up to like a two-way stop right there, I think it would make more sense.
Especially with Minor Street.
Exactly, yeah, because it's the one-way, so like when you're flat, like it can be a little confusing for people, sometimes people stop.
Yeah, great suggestion.
And then, this is sort of off topic, but like, how will the mobility hub like affect the put in over there, or like, will that get like construction or what?
The putting for rafting.
On the other side of,
Yeah,
Is the other
renovations
side.
on that would be like, I think incredible for the city, but I don't know. That's just like a little seed I wanna put.
Yeah.
Cause so many businesses use it and it's like dirt and like, I think it could be updated really well, but that would be something like to talk to the rafting community about too, but it's like a public space also.
I think that's also CDOT right away on that.
Yeah.
But that put in, I believe, is CDOT right away on the other side of the.
Like,
It hasn't been generally
Like how-
included, but yeah. I love to talk about it. Yeah, got it.
but yeah, definitely I would ask the rafting community too.
Great suggestion.
Any other thoughts? Comments online? Nobody? Cool. Will you guys tell everybody what the next kind of steps are and what we're doing next with you guys?
Yeah, so
You're
next.
right. I have to run to pick up my son.
Thanks, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
Next big steps are, we are progressing through a 15% design phase, which is bringing sort of all of the plans for this whole program up to speed. We're expecting to deliver that to city staff in early July. From there, our next big public outreach is going to be at the August block party. If I have that name correct.
You do?
But we are always available to you if you have questions or comments or want to talk about things, please reach out to Sadie and she can put you in contact with us. Beyond the 15%, we'll be moving towards 30% and 60% by next summer. So a lot of design work, a lot of decisions being made over the next couple of months here. But we're really trying to hear as many voices as we can hear. Be sure that we're designing the right thing for the community. And thank you for continuing to have us. And we'll try not to bog down this meeting every month.
Thank you.
With the final plan, is wayfinding part of this? Okay, and because the new brand and getting that tied in and cohesive and, yeah.
We will find a way to merge.
We have the wayfinding grant that we were awarded through CTO. We're just about to kick that grant off, developing a strategy. So maybe someone from your guys' team on that committee might be helpful, just so we're not spinning our wheels and then not looping you in on things that we're talking about.
That'd be great.
Yeah, be really, let me know which one of you guys wants to do
Let
that.
us figure that out. You can pick me for now.
Okay, I'll pick you for now. And then if you wanna change, you let me know.
Yes.
But that'd be good. I didn't think about that enough. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, we skipped over the action items because I knew Cheney had a hard deadline at the time to leave. So we do need to board-wise move back to the action items on, there are 2 action items that are listed on the agenda, and then 1 within the director's report I want to get a general approval for. So within the director's report that I want a general approval for is an approval to buy a brick with the excess from the flower program. So a motion for that, please. Lindsay moves. Okay, and do I have a second? Steve, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Wonderful. Thank you. On the skate park note, Cam and I reached out. They hadn't, traditionally when we activated Minor, Cam has done skate nights, through the activation program, and we didn't have any on the books for this year. But Cam has reached out and we're gonna go ahead and put a skate night on the books.
I'd love to talk about it just a little bit, super short. So June 21st is nationwide Go Skate Day, and the skateboard has collectively not wanted to do a Go Skate Day event in Idaho Springs on Go Skate Day because it's more fun to go to many skate parks. But this year, because it's our last year without having a skate park, we're gonna do, and it's the solstice, longest day of the year, we're gonna do like an evening or pop-up skate event. It'll be right in front of the Citizens Park. It is on Saturday. So I'm thinking about 5 to 7 p.m. So it'll be later on in the late afternoon, early evening. And the other cool thing about it that I'm excited to share with you all is the construction crew that is building our skate park. They are all skateboarders, and so they'll actually be there skating with our community side by side. So please spread the word. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Okay. So then the next action item is a motion to approve the sponsorship for the Slaymakers anniversary block party. Any discussion on that one? Cool, we have a motion. Tara moves.
I'll second.
Lana will second. All in favor? On the motion to approve designs, it doesn't sound like we're there yet. So I'm gonna push that one to polling the board. So board members, you guys will get an email from me with some updated design based off of feedback I got from you guys today. Another thing board members to watch out for is I'm also gonna be polling you guys about the website. I would really like to get that up this week if possible. Kent is willing to put in a little extra push if we get some crazy feedback. But we have done a ton of work on it to at least just get it where it is, so we can start saying it's there.
I'd throw out that if there's no feedback, I think we should just launch what we got. But
I love that idea, but board members.
Feedback would be much better, so.
Yeah, it's up to you
And things
guys.
can be changed after it's live too, very easily.
Thoughts,
Can we
considerations?
get it so we can look at it on our computers?
Oh, yeah, I can send it out to you guys right away. This is, let me share it one more time so you guys can see it.
Hey, Steve, just to be clear, it is a live website right now. It's just like on ridiculous url.wix.com/Idaho Springs, something nonsense like that.
It's on my
It's not
name.
on the official URL yet.
Yeah, it's
You
not,
can see it from any computer.
yeah, you can see it from any computer. I'll send you guys out the link to your, so you can see it. But you just go to this website that, again, like Kent says, it just is my name at wixsite.com. So it's live right now. It works. All the buttons work. You can.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually okay with you guys
That's
just
like-
launching it and then like we can give you feedback as we go.
Like, I don't know, I don't wanna bombard you with a bunch of silly stuff, like, just looking at it, I think it looks fantastic. The only suggestion I would have is like, can you bleed the photos out all the way out to the edges? And then where stories live, make it bigger and overlap on the photo, just to really make it prominent. Like, those are the two things that stood out to me, but
Yeah,
like, I don't
things
wanna
like that are
nitpick
great, and
stuff.
the width of things, absolutely, we can do stuff like that, no problem.
I just didn't know like what the editing, like,
Kent's kind of in.
parameters are. and-
Ken's already moved some wizardry, so I mean.
No, the worst, it's built in like a website designer.
Mhm, like a Wix or- yeah,
It
I-
is Wix. yeah.
Okay,
And so, I also do like from scratch websites all the time. And so since it's in a design platform, things are a little more limited and
Yeah,
some
that's
things
what I
you
was
just can't do. And
Such
it's
as the
completely
word.
random and nonsensical. sometimes.
Oh, as far as bringing the
This
voiceover
thing,
on
yeah.
top of the photo,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, but some things you can, and I'm happy to do any of that, and I can also make like a kind of offshoot preview pages that are like live.
Well,
that
and
you
like,
can see.
I don't wanna hold up the process by nitpicking silly stuff.
No,
We just
and-
need to get it up.
No, and the cool news is what I'm really love doing is just getting it live, and then we can iterate, you know,
Yeah.
because as soon as we get it live, you have somewhere to point advertising and other things too. And a lot of times with this type of thing, people can be really scared of making updates live. I really like the routine of, we're just doing it all the time easily. And it can change a lot at first, we get better and faster at it, as opposed to building up a whole bunch of big changes and we release it all at once can cause more problems than it solves.
I think definitely adding the R and the I, just
Just making it the
really
full
did that.
Idaho, okay.
I can email that too.
Yeah. But I think we should just go
Yeah.
forward, because, I mean, I also would like the link, so I can look at it like on my mobile and like, you know, like on all the things. But like, also, I just think we should get started.
And in that vein on the mobile, it looks, I would describe it fine on mobile right now. I have not done a pass on it to kind of optimize it for mobile. Be doing that hopefully this week, but actually I'll be doing that as soon as we kind of finalize those type of nitpicky things for the desktop. And that, and those type of comments are great. They're not overly nitpicky. That's exactly what we're looking for. But the goal was kind of just to finalize the desktop version and then I'll do a pass to optimize mobile, but it looks fine right now.
Right.
But we'll make it look great once we get to that.
Ditch the stakes.
Yeah.
It doesn't
folks.
bother me as much as like,
I mean,
I
we
see
have-
springs when I look at it, but I
So-
get it, I get where.
We also, let's see if I can show you guys. Okay, so we also have another one that we got.
I think that's kind of cool.
We have to have something we can use in a shorter format. I just, from a graphic design standpoint, we're gonna hit walls if you guys are always wanting me to put Idaho Springs on everything. We're gonna need a short mark at some point. Like we had the other one that nobody liked. So then the next one I pitched was the Idaho Spring, because that is what CDOT uses in a lot of their things. We did get it to say Idaho Springs in a lot of big sign stuff, but even internally, we're Idaho Spring from a CDOT perspective. We don't need to go down that road, we can do this one. So we have this one, so there's the Idaho Spring, and then that's just 1859. But here is the other alternative from the short form of, if that one's more, we can go more that direction on the things where we do need to have. On the website, we can have it have the long Idaho Springs spelt out. Sorry, these are all the no's. Don't do those.
Well, and like, I'm cool, I mean, I'm not a fan of the sprig, but also like, I understand the practicality of it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it when it needs to be, it's just when it doesn't need to be.
From
I'd agree
just
with
a
that.
design perspective, 100% your decision. I don't have a dog in the race on this one. Just letting you know that on the website, in that header, there's absolutely room for the full word, either way.
Yep.
And on mobile too. There's room for either way. So y'all let us know that was what was kind of on the design brief I got, is why I put it there.
Right, so we can do Idaho Springs up here from the top, like we can do it there. And then in the other instances where I do need a short form, if you guys want me to start prioritizing, I can start prioritizing. And again, from a sense of, nobody knows what ISCO is, well, nobody knows what lots of things are till we start training them to know what it
I'm
is.
wondering if you could put, and again, here I go, and I will put this in the email for you, Kent, but the IS code, like if you could put that in white, kind of bigger on the corner of that first initial photo or something, just to get people used to it and start splashing things around and,
Like
or, yeah, right in there, or if there's like a hashtag you want people to start using, put the hashtag there, just to get people familiar with some of the things.
Those are great ideas, and like y'all said, from like a brand training perspective. And those are all things that can be changed as y'all coalesce kind of what marks you want to really be prominent. We can easily swap these things out on the website.
I think a lot more marketing can play off of ISCO too.
Okay. Cool. I'll start predominantly using and instructing people to use that one when we're doing the small, when we need it in a small format. We can do, and I just noticed we still have this.
I know, I keep adjusting that. There's some weird Wix thing. I'll make note of that.
Okay, cool. Let's just, off the note of what they said, let's use this version up at the top
Yes, ma'am.
too. Just to make that, and then I'll ask, about doing a graphic design on this, putting ISCO here. But other than that, what do you guys wanna do? Do you guys want me to pull you later, or do you want somebody wanna make a motion to go
Let's
live?
go live.
Wait, someone make a motion.
And motion to go live.
Steve, motion, website, version 1. Okay, Steve motion, who second? Lindsay, did you second? Yeah. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's gonna go.
So we just need to get together. I can do that from a technical side, but I need info and like logging stuff from you.
I'll just,
So,
I
whatever you
mean, I
want.
can just sit down and go through the GoDaddy. That's all. You just need access to
Yeah,
GoDaddy.
yeah, and then just to make it talk to Wix.
Perfect. We can get together right after this. It'll take us 2 seconds and we're done now.
I think that should be fine.
Well, oh, sorry.
On the ISCO, I mean, does anybody else, does it look weird with period? The 2 periods?
That's what I thought.
I think
I
it
thought
looks
like if you
weird.
have a space there, you know how some of those like, they have like the straight line between. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It'd be cool, IS, straight line.
Oh, yeah,
CO.
okay, yeah.
But I'm not a business owner, so I don't wanna.
Yeah, or just the one period
Or just
without.
maybe 1 period or something, yeah, I don't know, it
Yeah.
just looks funny to me that way.
I think it might look more like a acronym for like a corporation, if you take, you
I
have
see
to
what
have
you're saying.
something there. But not necessarily period, but something, just to,
I mean, that's immediately where I went when I got
yeah,
it,
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
if anybody else is seeing that.
No, that
Yeah,
makes
that
sense.
makes sense.
All
Thanks for the
right.
virus.
Yeah. I mean, he's used to me at this point. Okay, anybody else wanna open? We got a little tiny time left. Anybody want any?
I make a suggestion on the other action item. How about taking a motion to approve the designs, subject to final approval consensus of the board? That way you take an action at this meeting, we know we're gonna get them. But you're just, gonna send out the final thoughts about the design, am I right? And
Yeah.
then just get a consensus, so. And that's sometimes what we do in council, that kind of helps move things along, the matter of the
Keep it.
record, there's, some details need to work out, which you'll get out to everybody, and then but it gives you the opportunity to move forward once you get that consensus.
Okay, okay, so on part B for action items, I would say a motion to approve Visit of Idaho Springs 10x10s and vinyl signs for minor street barricades with design changes, and consensus from the board.
Subject to final,
Yeah.
consensus of the board.
From the board, okay?
Like that, yeah.
Board, cool with that? Do I have a motion for that? Sarah. And a second, Lindsay, okay, all in favor? Alright, perfect, okay. Awesome, thank you, Andy. Any other comments before?
Can I just say one thing? Or sorry, I already did. It's summer dollar days, so kids get into the rec center for $1. Spread the word.
All of the June?
All through summer.
All through summer. Ah.
Soccer coming up, so that'll filter down here.
Yep. Soccer's on the
Softball.
28th.
Softball, yeah.
Softball's happening, kickball's happening. Stage has been relocated. Skate park is happening. Rapid Grass 15, 16. Thank you for the flowers and
You're
the brick.
welcome. Don't forget your 4th of July posters for those to go. Also wonderful opportunity for volunteer on East End. If you want to take a snack, maybe you could help distribute around some of your East End friends. That would be a huge help for me. To get those into some East End hands. If you board members want to take, more than one, and help distribute, that always helps me so that I don't have to do it all myself. So, okay.
I had one other thing, and maybe this is a separate conversation, but I just want to get it out of my head. Crosswalk between United Center and Lynn's Accounting Building, and maybe, I don't know if there is one, between Elks Lodge and Club Hotel.
Oh.
People fly, there is, okay, people fly down Colorado, and if there was a I just feel like there needs to be one for the United Center with the events that they have. My office is there, and I watch people stand there as cars just fly past them. Just wanted to get that
I
out.
also think there should be a stop sign
Feels
there.
like there
I think it
should be
should be a
one.
forward stop.
Feels like there should be one where all the curb cuts are.
I
There's a lot
kind
of
of
curb
agree,
cuts.
yeah.
It looks like there was the intention to do a sidewalk and.
So,
It is really dangerous.
crosswalks.
Alrighty. I am going to officially adjourn us at 3:47 PM. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your help. If you're going to the Argo tour, we'll see you over there. We can just take this whole stack here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That would be so helpful. If you could just hit from like,
Can I steal one?
there's a whole,
I have
there's a whole
stack
stack
over
over there
there.
too. If you could hit from some guards, the barbecue place, all the way over here.
Yeah, it's.
If there was.
Six, I didn't get that there, but I
I
know.
I'm gonna put this up.
Exactly.
I mean, especially like Starbucks and food of those places, it would be great. And if you don't tell them.
Is it summer so far?
I appreciate it. That would be so helpful. Some of it's
Before that, I'm like.
Well, it's.
Whether
So
they
they
feel
know
about
that
it.
here's the thing, a graphic design and got it good within the right.
I'll probably be around there.
Well, yeah, because it's like, for example, like what like this on these designs has exactly what it is. I feel like it's down on here. Yeah, we at least get this, maybe this is on his design, but it is exactly. And unfortunately, that's because you know, and if we wanna go down there, but right now we're using plug and play templates. Intent is pretty much for the back end,